What's up, guys, and welcome to this week's watch list. We're just going to go into some names that I've found and then also kind of just what we're seeing in the overall top stocks and indexes. So, when we're taking a look at this and ranking these from the strongest stocks as of the past 50 days, um, you can see in terms of the names here that we have listed here, the we've got Tesla, Netflix, and Amazon. So really what we're seeing is XLY and really XLC are kind of leading the way. So you can see XLY has just had, after this daily squeeze, had a crazy breakout to the upside. So we have to pay attention to these stocks because Tesla is actually having a pretty crazy move. Now, we did get in on this day here, got some runners left, but we were able to take majority of our profits at that 1272 around 370. And so now we're getting a daily A plus. It's just extended. So what we'll need to do is go find like a 15-minute setup, kind of like this one here, and play the continuation of this name because I think eventually we're gonna go hit a new all-time high. Maybe the end of this year, we'll see. But I think 400 is very likely this week. And then we'll have to see by the end of the year if we make new highs. But it's Tesla, so we know that this can have a crazy move. It's already having a crazy move, and we caught a nice trade off of that earlier this week. But let's dive into the indexes. So QQQ daily squeeze fired off and is right at that target. So that 1272 target. Um, we had this squeeze form here, and then we had a move up into the 1272. And if we go look at SPY, this one didn't have a squeeze, but it's continuing to make upside moves. If we look at the futures, we might get a better idea of what's going on. So I think with this daily squeeze firing on Friday, I think this does lead us into the path of 220 or sorry, 22,000. So we just have to keep an eye on that. If we go to like the shorter time frames, you can see here um, we made a new high. Let's see if we can hold a pullback back into this area here around 550, 550. But I'm just thinking that eventually we're going to make our way up into this 22,000. And not to mention, this weekly squeeze is now firing off. It officially fired off after being in a weekly squeeze for about um, since beginning of September. So you can see here we got a buy signal, nice move up, buy signal, nice move up. And once that squeeze fires, we get a pretty good follow through. So I'm expecting some of the same here. But then we have to be cautious because I think that that might be what may cause us to top here in the near future. We just always have to be, we're going to follow price, obviously, and follow the trend. But what we're seeing here is we had this big shakeout and then now we're ripping upside. So I think it's going to give us some pretty decent upside. But now that we have to be cautious because this point, we're starting to get under zero point 0.6 on the put call ratio. And that usually is a pretty concerning sign. We get some pretty nasty pullbacks when that does happen. So we just have to be aware of when the 10-day SMA gets pulled back into that zero point 0.6 territory and lower. So let's keep an eye on that. Um, if we go look at ES, this thing had its weekly squeeze, weekly buy signals, and fired off, and has been had a nice move ever since. So if we take a look, we're up about 6% since that uh, signal there. Now we just have to pay attention to what we're going to get into next. So those are the indexes. Not really too much to say. We're up at extensions, right? So like if I go and zoom out, we're at the 1618, which we actually ended up topping out at and have had trouble breaking. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a pullback um, sometime soon. It just kind of depends on really if the Nasdaq is going to continue pushing higher in these other stocks. So um, I think a few of the stocks here do look pretty extended. We have met this target, so it's not like we want to start swinging long a ton of positions, but we have to acknowledge that we can continue to go higher. So you can see we've had this pattern of these levels. So we broke, came back, retested, broke, came back, retested, and then now we're here at this resistance. Maybe we break and come back and retest. So maybe in theory, based on what we're seeing here, maybe what ends up happening is we break above this 1618, head into 6200, which will give the Nasdaq room to head into that 22,000, which is it's 1272. So um, it's 1272 up here. So maybe we're going to get that push up and the Nasdaq will kind of lead as we've been seeing, because picking up the slack essentially. And then maybe we get a little, which gives a little lift to ES. And then ultimately we kind of just pull back after the Nasdaq gets to that 22 K mark. So that's all just theory, but we can see here that with these fib levels, we keep going up, hitting it as resistance, came back to retest, broke above, came back and retested. So pretty common theme is we're seeing retests. So do we reject here and go retest, or and then see what happens from there? Or do we break through, then retest and see what happens from there? So right now the Nasdaq is a little extended, but I think it's either we're gonna start topping out or we essentially continue that push into 22,000. We just have to be aware of that. So like if we remove this here, and not to mention, or well, to mention, we our initial game plan from last week was a break, or we were looking for follow through up into a new high, and we got exactly that. So yeah, if you notice, it's 1272 and 1618 actually line up pretty well together, right around 22,000. So I think it's pretty probable we go there before we see some sort of major pullback. So we may see a couple days, few days pullback, but I think ultimately with this daily squeeze firing, weekly squeeze firing, 22,000 is not a lot to ask for. So I'm expecting more upside. Obviously not straight up, but I am looking for some upside movement, and then I think we may reach some sort of top. We'll see, just based on the put call and how extended ES and SPY is. So now we can dive into the stocks top components. So Tesla, we already talked about this one. This one, strongest stock out of the Mag 7 kind of names. So what we want to look for is, can we continue higher? And this thing has just been extremely strong, gapping up, making a move higher. And then so we just want to look to play continuation on this. So any of the 15-minute squeezes with buy signals, we want to trade those. So we got in on this one here. And then I think a few people played this one. I did not play this one, but this was a great entry for uh, buy signal for continuation on Friday. So let's keep an eye on that. It looks like Tesla is actually up based on Friday's close. It's up $5 from where it actually closed. So this thing could be at 400 tomorrow. So it seems like it's just going to continue to rip. Um, Similar story. Netflix is continuing to move higher and making these crazy moves higher. So um, daily squeeze fired off and has just been, or weekly squeezes fired off. We had those buy signals, and now we've just been on a tear ever since. Um, I think this one is on its way to 1,000. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know when that price point is going to be or when it will be achieved, but I think that it's very likely this is going to hit this. So, um, man, this is right in the way. So, yep. So that's close enough. Um, we can look at the most recent swing, high to swing low, even though it was very shallow pullback. And we got that 1618 at 940. I think this one you just continue to play it till it stops working. So We had nice buy signals on this must have been, yeah, Friday. We had nice buy signals here around 9:25. Got a 10-point move. So we just got to keep an eye on those lower time frame signals because they're producing pretty great results like here, here. So we want to play the momentum stocks and just use those lower time frames to trade them. Same thing. Amazon here, almost up to that 1618. Beautiful trend. You can just see we just get a buy signal and then move up, buy signal, move up, buy signal, move up. So just continue to look for that. But as you can see, all of these are starting to get, well, these names, they're pretty extended but strong. Uh, NVIDIA. So this one here still has yet to reach its 1272. So maybe this one can start to pick up slack now that the Nasdaq is starting to pick up. But we can keep an eye on this one and see if there's anything that gives us a signal to enter. We might be getting an inverse head and shoulders here, so we can set maybe a price alert for right here. When we get above that, we can start to become interested in this stock. QQQ SPY, we've gone over it. Apple, weekly squeeze. Um, so this one we want to keep an eye on. I think it's going to 250. It's just a matter of time. So let's keep an eye on trading this one. And it's shown a little bit of weakness as of recently and some choppy action. So we'll just keep an eye on it and see if we can this consolidation can break out to the upside and we can trade it into 250. So it's just been on a run as of recent. I think money's starting to rotate. Maybe we have a pullback and retest. Who knows? So we'll just have to see. This is not one of my favorite ones right now. I'd rather be trading one of these top three names here because there's more momentum there. This one has kind of just been topping out a little bit. Futures, we've traded or talked about those. Google it is printing this chart is only printing only shows A plus setups, but this is actually printing a regular weekly buy signal. So I think that we should keep an eye on this one. This one might be able to provide some lift in the Nasdaq as well. It's just one of those laggards, so we kind of want to stay away from it until it starts to wake up a little bit. But you can't really ignore that there's a little bit of this trend line going on, a little bit of cup and handle. So if this can start to get some lift and some buyers behind it, then we can look to trade it. It's just right now, there's not a lot of buyers in this. Meta, this is one you'd rather trade, right? So Meta is an XLC as well. So really, you want to be focused on Netflix and Meta. These are the two ones that have strength in the XLC sector. So just keep an eye on these lower time frame squeezes. Look for opportunities to get in and trade them, so on and so forth. And just look for continuation up into resistance. So you really want to pay attention to these stronger ones of Meta, Tesla, Netflix, Amazon. So really it's that XLC and XLY. And I put heavy emphasis on focus on XLY because those are the ones that are outperforming even more. Laggards are definitely semiconductors, but we've got a weekly A plus on TSM. I think that you really want to pay attention to this one above the 618. So when we get above this level here, you really want to look for a break up into new highs. I think once we break that, we'll see a pretty quick and swift move. You can see here we had buy signals and this nice move up, buy signal. And then when we got to that resistance, we rejected pretty hard. And if we zoom out, maybe to like 4-hour chart, you can see we rejected it once, twice, three times. So if we can break through it on some volume, I think this will be a really great trade. That resistance has shown to be pretty strong. Microsoft, this one has came up to resistance a couple times, this resistance of the 618. So right now, I think we're free and clear to head up into 450. So that's one of the main ones that I definitely want to pay attention to. So And then this is my swing watch list. So, uh, and so let's see. So Dash, or sorry, Microsoft into 450. Okay. And then ABGO has earnings this week, so we're not going to touch this. We'll wait for earnings to come out and see if this weekly squeeze can fire to the upside. It's been chopping around for a while, taking some time to fire off, but I'm expecting it to move upside because we've got 200 up here, but also at the same token, we've got this right here. We've got these A plus signals printing. So, and then as for short-term ideas, these are ones that, or swing trade ideas, I like Dash. This Rocket Lab needs to be. So Dash, you can see we have this nice leg up. Uh, Clearly has momentum. I think we're running into a pocket of supply and demand where there's been a lot of trading activity going on in here. So it might take a little bit of time, but we've got a nice 4 hour squeeze here. So we want to keep an eye on this. If we can print a signal, um, then I would like to trade this to the upside and break that 180. We should see a pretty nice move right above that 618. So we definitely want to keep an eye on that. So that's good looking. CLS. So this one, this is printing an A plus setup, but it's a little extended. We've got $100 up here to watch out for. But you can see here, we had this huge sell off from $88 all the way down to $2.50, and it's recovered all of that. So that's really, really, really crazy. So for lack of better way to put it. So this one is a clear momentum mover. It's done well, it was down towards $10 in June of 22. So in 2 years, it's gone up that much. So we really, really, really should pay attention to this as it had earnings and beat earnings. And then now has been running ever since. And now we've got a daily A plus setup with a psych level we're coming up on. So this would be a really good short-term trade into 100. And then 110, I think would should be a pretty easy target, that 111 from the major swing extensions. So 100 above and okay. And then Hut, we take a look at this name. You can see here we had this breakout of this big consolidation. And now we've broken out of that consolidation and have now began an acceleration phase. So we had this base breakout. And so now what I'm looking for is, can we continue? And this is one of the stronger names out of these miners. Like if we go look at uh, Mara, it's still stuck within its continue or uh, ranging phase. What's the other ones? Hut, Riot. Same thing here. You can see how bad this one is. Still really stuck in its range. So, and even that shorter term range, it wouldn't become as much interesting until it broke out of like $18, really $20. So that's what we're seeing there. And so Hut is obviously the clear outperformer. It's had its breakout, strong breakout. It's continued to hold it for weeks, so I think it's okay for continuation now. Um, Another one. Um, what's that called? I can't. I'm forgetting. I'm drawing a blank. Roblox. This is one to pay attention to as well. We had a major base breakout and don't have too much resistance till we get up into like, well, really like $63 and then $70. But mainly that $70 level, I think we'll start to see some resistance, but we want to mark that one. Okay. And then so Hut base breakout on. So this one actually looks really good. Um, If you look at the weekly, we've got a weekly squeeze firing off, making new all-time highs. We've got this flag breakout pattern after earnings and daily A plus. And then I think, yep, we've got 30-minute A plus too. So um, weekly firing, daily A plus, and 30-minute A plus. So this one looks pretty solid for continued breakout. And actually, we're holding above 400 as well. So, um, put all that in the notes. NCLH. So we can take a look at this one. This one, yeah, no thank you. It's had good momentum, but UEC, this one had earnings. It's now breaking out into new highs. Um, so now we're kind of in price discovery mode. So what's that low? 35 cents. So pretty remarkable recovery on this one. So let's see if we can get into that $9.52. Um, or 42 cents. So this just has a daily A plus setup after earnings. How'd they do? That was a miss. Um, but we've got this daily A plus setup. This isn't one of my favorite stocks because or one of my favorite setups because I don't really know too much about it. I know it has to do with uranium and all that good stuff, but we've just got this daily A plus setup to keep an eye on. Um, and then oh, Upstart. This is a swing based idea. So if you look at this one, we've got um, this consolidation after the earnings report. We had a great earnings report. It was a beat. Um, we're just forming this flag. Go to monthly. We're trying to break out of this base. So we did have a candle close above the base. Now we're trading above it. So now it's like, okay, if we go here, I doubt any fibs are going to match up with this because it was trading at $400 at one point. Um, So there we go. Okay, so yeah, we don't really have. Yeah, so 100 is probably the next level here. This is a short, like a heavily shorted stock, so we could see a breakout on this. We're in this daily squeeze, but we had a 15-minute A plus at the end of the day. Um, and so if we can get above this $80, we should see a really nice breakout up into this previous high and then new all-time highs. But that's kind of the watch list. So let's make notes here. So Tesla is definitely my favorite idea. Um, so here are kind of the names that I'm paying attention to: Tesla, Microsoft, TSM. I'm always going to prioritize these names over any of the other setups, but I want to keep these other setups on the radar. So you can see here the relative strength is pretty high on both of these names. So let's keep an eye on this, or short term and long term. So past year and then 52 days or 50 days. So Tesla, Microsoft, TSM. I need to check this real quick. TSM, this is actually the 786. Okay. And then if we look at the weekly, one thing, and we're actually holding the $200 price point. So we want to mark that as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, Tesla. So these three right here are top priority going into this week. And then all these other ones are kind of second hand priority. So there you go. That's kind of the watch list for this week with breakdown and information on all of these. Um, Microsoft, I can give you a little more detailed answer. So uh, Microsoft continuations from break of uh, flash crash 618 into 450. So um, yeah, I think these are the top ideas that I'm paying attention to. And we've also got a weekly squeeze here. So really this is all that I'm paying attention to. So I think shorter term ideas, Tesla, Microsoft, TSM for continuations into higher prices. I think Amazon, we may want to just keep an eye on this one because this one's going insane. So um, I just don't have let's see. Maybe we can pull some better levels here. So there we go. Color these red. Then we go here, there. Maybe we set these to like purple. No, that's going to be too bright. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we can go down to a lower time frame, see how these levels are looking. So we've got the 1618 really up here. And then the 1618 of the flash crash, quote unquote thing, um, into 233, but really I'm going to keep a main eye on Tesla. They're in the same sector. So I'm going to pay attention to both, but this is, I think Tesla has more room for upside. So here's your list, other names, and then there's the swing ideas. So, all right, I hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching. You can take a screenshot of this and take it into next week. But these are the ideas that I'm keeping an eye on and looking to trade. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you for the markets next week.